Alright, you guys, so I've just finished watching Real Madrid defeat Villarreal 3-1 in La Liga, and I have thoughts. Let's get into it. First, in case this is your first time watching my video, I am just Max, and on this channel I talk about football from the La Liga to the Prem and definitely the UCL, and of course it's always going to be Vizca Barca for me, but I do watch a lot of Real Madrid matches, so I guess we should talk about what we've just seen from Real Madrid and Villarreal, because going into this match we knew that Real Madrid needed to get back into winning ways, especially after that 5-2 thumping that they received in the last match day from the hands of Atletico Madrid. So one of the first things first that needed to change was the lineup. The lineup that faced Villarreal today was certainly different from the lineup that came out against Atletico Madrid. To many degree, I felt like Xabi Alonso ended up reverting to what was originally working for him, which is what I thought he was going to do last week. I don't know why he decided to change things up. In goal, we had Thibaut Courtois. In right back, which was a subject of major debate and conversation this season, or this week I should say rather, was Federico Valverde. In the news, a lot was made about the fact that he did not want to be playing in the right back position, and a lot of Spanish journalists apparently questioned his commitment to Real Madrid, and that was a major thing this week. But he did start this game for Real Madrid in right back for Real Madrid, and honestly I don't know why anybody is questioning his commitment to the team. This is one of the few players for Real Madrid that I actually like. In centre back, it was Eder Militao and of course Dean Howson, and of course in that left back position it was Alvaro Carreras. Coming into that midfield for Real Madrid, it was Aurelien Tchouameni and Dani Ceballos, and then in the forward positions it was Franco Mastantuono, who was reclaiming his position in the starting lineup after being dropped for that match against Atletico Madrid. Arda Güler, who has come to become one of the main fixtures in the Real Madrid starting 11 this season. Vinicius Junior, who is proving to Xabi Alonso that he is every bit the star that Kylian Mbappe is, and of course leading in line is the man himself, Kylian Mbappe. Now I'm going to be honest with you and say that I was very underwhelmed by this match, especially in the first half from what we saw from Villarreal. The reason is, starting this game, it was the number 2 teams in the La Liga standing versus the number 3 team. Villarreal have certainly been on fire. They've been sensational to start the season. I felt like going into this match, I was looking forward to seeing what they were going to bring to Real Madrid in terms of fast break, pace, and all of that stuff. You know, they've been good. And we just saw them in the midweek in the Champions League, where they were able to hold Juventus to a draw in the UEFA Champions League. And we know that Juventus are back, like they're essentially back. So I strapped into this game, certainly looking forward to enjoying a very good performance from both teams. And honestly, would it have made me feel better if Real Madrid had dropped points? Yes, as a Barcelona fan, it would have, absolutely. But ultimately, I also wanted to watch a good game. So I was very surprised when Villarreal did not start the match with the same level of energy or firepower that we're used to seeing. Honestly, I felt like, and this is my opinion here, that they almost considered the game even before they even started the game. Like the intensity was not there, the determination, they were just lacking. And here's the thing that shocked me about this Villarreal performance in that first half, and certainly to some extent the second half as well, is that I did not understand what they were trying to do. They were not trying to defend very deeply, as we've seen from many La Liga teams, is sitting a low block. That's not what they were trying to do. At the same time, they were not even trying to attack as well. Like, so it was just in that kind of hybrid position that I was just not really understanding what was going on, or what was the gameplay, what was the desired effect. Now, from a Real Madrid perspective though, I found the first half to be a little bit boring, to be very lethargic, and I think that it may have stemmed from the way Villarreal started the game. The way that Villarreal started the game with no energy, it may have affected their gameplay as well, because it seemed to me like even though they had like large chunks of ball possession, and I think at some point in the game it was reading 71% ball possession in the first half, and largely in the Villarreal half of the field, they just didn't do anything with it. I just didn't feel the intent, almost like they wanted to pass Villarreal into oblivion. Yes, they did create a few chances, they did make a few shots here and there, but nothing that I felt was going to trouble the Villarreal fans and definitely the Villarreal goalkeeper. There was that one big chance in the first half, and it actually fell to Villarreal. And here's something that I want a lot of Real Madrid fans and Real Madrid people to pay attention to, is that even though Villarreal did not come out with the right level of intensity, I felt like whenever they showed what they can do, they were still able to control the midfield. I was quite impressed by the way they were able to collect the ball from Real Madrid when they wanted to, and they tried at certain instances to try and release Oluwaseyi, who was definitely hanging around that offside line to try and break Real Madrid. They didn't get it on 2 occasions because Carreras, he read that very well. But on the 3rd occasion, they did get it right. They passed Real Madrid through that midfield, and then they released Oluwaseyi, who was going through one-on-one on goal with Thibaut Courtois. Of course, he beat his 2 defenders. They could not afford to foul him because definitely was through on goal. And I think that just his immaturity is showed in that moment, because he could not decide whether he wanted to go left or whether he wanted to round the goalkeeper. And at the end of the day, the opportunity went away from him because he was too close to Thibaut Courtois by the time he decided to go round the goalkeeper. And of course, the goalkeeper was able to put out a hand that, prevented that attack. I thought that was the best chance of the entire match, and oddly enough, it fell to Villarreal, whom up until that moment I was not impressed with their gameplay. Now, I expected that the second half was going to change, and maybe the goal for Villarreal's perspective was that they wanted to feel out Real Madrid to see how it was, or maybe even Real Madrid were going to come out with a lot more intensity, because like I said, that first half was a yawn fest. And certainly in the second half it did change slightly, but from a Real Madrid perspective, coming into the game within the first 90 minutes of gameplay, Real Madrid have scored a goal courtesy of Vinicius Jr. and it was a really, really good goal. He's definitely been the most sensational, most brilliant for Real Madrid on the night for this occasion. And so realizing that the goal had fallen to him, and the defense for Villarreal will take some L's in this one, because the ball did take a huge deflection and then ends up in the back of the net. But at the same time, I felt like it was a really, really deserving goal for Vinicius Jr., who had up until that moment, basically been the best thing to happen to Real Madrid. And certainly there were other bright spots. I do like Mastantuono as well, but I felt like on the day, Vinicius Jr. was it for Real Madrid. Now, after that goal went in for Real Madrid, I also felt like if there was anything that was left in the Villarreal tank, it was drained. And it was bizarre for me, because it's almost like, okay, they weren't giving me anything in the first half to begin with, and definitely now that they're down, they're not giving me anything. It was a dry kind of performance. I don't know how to explain it to you in a way that makes so much sense. It was so, they just did not have anything left. Real Madrid certainly were a little bit more comfortable. Of course, they had that 1-goal lead. It was basically kicking the balls around the park. It was almost giving boys to men. But every now and then, when Villarreal wanted to show their quality, you could see what they could do, the way they were able to recover balls, the way they were able to pass by the Real Madrid midfield. And honestly, if I'm being fair, it did piss me off a little bit, because I know what you can do, and I did not understand why they did not do it sooner. And as I mentioned earlier, Vinicius Jr. was Real Madrid's best spot. So, of course, he was going to be the one to put them 2-0 up when he ended up, winning that penalty for Real Madrid in the second half. Now, this is something that I want to talk to La Liga defenders here personally, and this is my opinion, and feel free, like, I'm not a footballer, you guys are footballers, but hear me out. Can you please stop sticking out that leg against Real Madrid in the box? Like, you might get away with it with other people, but against Real Madrid, it's going to be called 10 times out of 10. It's just what it is. Like, stop putting your leg out. Like, don't do it. Like, I don't know how many penalties that Real Madrid have been able to win this season just from that alone. Like, Kylian Mbappe has scored like a lot of penalties, and we are only match day 6. Like please stop. Just stop. Like, it's not the right way to defend against Real Madrid. I think Rafa is the player who ends up, conceding that penalty to Real Madrid, and it was just a very, very silly, very cynic one. Rafa Marine, he didn't need to. He was just, if the leg was just there, Vinicius Jr. falls over it, and of course it's a penalty, which he expertly stands up to take and slots it past the goalkeeper, whom I thought could have done better to save it, because he definitely gets the right way. He had the right speed. It's just that it crept underneath him. 2-0 it was for Real Madrid. And oddly enough, that was when I started to feel Villarreal more in this game, and it kind of like left me a little bit shocked because I did not understand why you needed for Real Madrid to go 2-0 up before you actually started to play your gameplay. Now I know Villarreal did have that one chance that crept over, you know, the front of the goal line, and some people may say, should Villarreal have considered the penalty or to been awarded the penalty earlier than that? You know what, we're not going to go into that. We're just going to go into what happened thereafter. After Vinicius Jr. scored the second goal for Real Madrid, I thought Villarreal was significantly better. They came out of their shell. They were starting to play a lot more like what I expected them to play. But at this point, they were already 2-0 down. And I don't understand the rationale in giving Real Madrid a 2-0 head start. But they did manage to pull one goal back. And it was through their sensational signing from Georgia's Mika Tades. Like, he had a wonderful strike, and this is something that I wanted them to do for much of this game. Like, from the edge of the box, take it. Like, you're not going to pass Real Madrid in the box. So if you get an opportunity and you see this place, please attack the space. And that's exactly what he did. It was a really, really beautiful goal, and I felt like Villarreal had the momentum. I mean, there was a little bit of a passage of play where Real Madrid could have been awarded the second penalty, but you know, I don't know what happened there. It wasn't meant to be. But moving forward, I felt like Villarreal could, you know, definitely get a second goal. But at the same time, this is where the maturity and, of course, the cream will always rise to the top. And at this point, I actually want the Villarreal coach to come forward, because like I said, much of this game I was not understanding what the gameplay was. I did not understand what the idea behind the tactic was, and especially because earlier on in this game, Moreno and the other fullback of Villarreal picked up a yellow card earlier up in this game. So I would have thought that maybe at halftime, for the sake of, you know, preventing a potential red card, that Villarreal would have at least subbed off one of the fullbacks. That way they can, you know, mitigate that kind of a little bit of a crisis. He did not do that. He offered to keep both of them in the game for longer than necessary. Moreno ended up committing a cynical, well, it was a very soft foul against Vinicius Jr. The referee ends up giving a second yellow card. Basically what happened was Vinicius Jr. was going to be going past him. He blocks him off, tugs him a little bit. Vinicius Jr. falls, demands a yellow card. The referee does provides the yellow card. And of course, 2 yellow cards equals a red. And the momentum shifts to Real Madrid again, because like I said, up until that moment, I felt like Real Madrid were on the back foot, like Villarreal were searching for that second goal, much like they did against, you know, Juventus in the Champions League. But, you know, coming in here and seeing how they had gone 1-0, one person down, it swing the possession. It swing things in highly, much in favor of Real Madrid. And not soon after that, Mbappe will score a third goal, of course, beautifully worked and set together by Brahim Diaz, with contributions from Jude Bellingham as well, whom, by the way, I felt could have scored 2 goals. He did, you know, had certainly opportunities coming up until this game. It ends 3-1 to Real Madrid. Summary of it all. But I do think, like, Real Madrid did not win this game, in my opinion, as much as Villarreal lost it. I felt like if they had played their gameplay much better, like at the start, you know, and just be themselves and have a little bit of confidence and attacked Real Madrid the way we've seen them attack other La Liga teams, that certainly they could have at least taken a point out of here. And I know that many people will want to say, oh, does this show that Real Madrid are back after that, you know, thumping by Atletico Madrid? I would desist from harboring this kind of sentiments, because like I said, I think Villarreal lost the game more than Real Madrid won it. But this is just my opinion. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section. I know Vinicius Jr. certainly dazzled for this game, but who else impressed you? And let me know in the comment section. But until next time, bye guys.